So we've got some breaking news, by the way, in the Lori Vallow case. A hearing that was scheduled for the 17th has been moved to the 24th, trying to get that bail reduced. So the 24th now is the new date for Lori Vallow Daybell in court in Idaho, trying to get the bail reduced so she can get out and be free with her new husband, Chad Daybell. In the meantime, huge development today. Police releasing to us body cam footage from the day that Charles Vallow, Lori Vallow's husband, was shot and killed, apparently by her brother, Alex Cox. We've got the video. Ted Rowlands took a look at it. Let's take a listen.
Brother-in-law visiting from Houston.
This is dash cam video from the Chandler Police Department obtained by Court TV. Officers are responding to the call that Lori Vallow's husband, Charles, has just been shot by her brother, Alex Cox.
You have the subject on the phone step out of the residence with his hands empty.
Two officers are waiting for Alex Cox with guns drawn as he walks out of the house.
Come out this way, man. You know, no weapons?
No weapons on me.
All right, come on out this way.
Yep.
I'm going to have you have a seat right here on the curb.
Yep. Who else is in the house? No one else is in the house. Okay, just have a seat right there. Let's get FD in here.
Yeah.
Have a seat.
18, seat secure. We got the gentleman out. Have fire rolling.
One officer goes into the house. The other asks Alex what happened.
What happened today? How did it get to this?
I don't know. He was enraged.
What's going on? What happened?
Oh, he was talking with my sister earlier.
No, what happened today, though? Like, just in the last 20 minutes.
He came at me with a bat.
At first, Alex doesn't seem to have a clear response as to what happened.
What was he accusing you of?
He was just yelling at me. I just went back to the living room. I'm like, what is your problem?
With the gun in your
Yes. And I said, I want you to put that bat down. And he wouldn't do it. And he's like, and he came at me with the bat again after he'd already hit me in the head. So I shot him to stop him.
Okay, and then what happened?
That was it.
The officer in the house encounters the body of Charles Vallow in the front room, lying on the floor. Next to the body is the baseball bat that Alex claims Charles used to hit him. After checking his pulse, the officer clears the house as the fire department arrives to pronounce him dead.
This guy's last name is Vallow. V-A-L-L-O.
Meanwhile, outside, Lori and Tylee arrive.
Does your husband live here or no?
No, he lives in Houston.
Gotcha.
We just moved in here.
Gotcha. How long have you guys lived here?
I'm sorry?
How long have you lived here?
Like 3 weeks.
Oh, geez. Yeah, okay.
That's why the neighbors don't know us.
Gotcha.
Like, hi neighbor, sorry.
Are you working at all?
No.
Okay. And you're still about 5'6", 120?
The officer then gets some personal information from Tylee.
Blonde, too. You guys, I'm going to list you as a blonde young lady here. And then blue eyes?
Yeah.
You have very blue eyes. That's not under debate.
The officer finally goes to debrief detectives that have just arrived on scene.
Wife, husband got into a verbal argument. Brother steps in and says, just get out. At some point, the niece grabs the bat and is poking her dad. Dad takes the bat away. They decide to leave. Everyone leaves. There's a son, too, a younger son. Her son, he's not here either. So, wife who lives here, her daughter, her son, they all leave. Her brother staying here, visiting, and the husband. They get into it. He's like, he says they got into an argument. Husband hit him in the head with a bat. The bat's right next to the brother says, that goes to his room, grabs his gun, his own gun, goes back out, doesn't stay in the room, doesn't lock the door, doesn't call us, but goes back out, confronts him, says, drop the bat. The guy doesn't drop the bat. He says he shoots him. Goes back into his room, puts his gun away, grabs his phone, cleans his head up, calls 911.
Wow. This is unreal to finally get to see this video and what the stories are and what everyone's demeanor is. Let's bring everyone back in. Ted, tell me what's going through your mind as you're going through this entire video today. What are you taking away from this thing?
Really, two things. Alex has a really difficult time initially articulating what happened, and he's doing it in sort of a calm manner and a very reserved manner. And then the other thing is the lack of emotion. Lori Vallow and Tylee come, and they supposedly are just finding out that there's been a shooting, and Lori's ex-husband is dead. Tylee's father is dead. No emotion at all. It just doesn't seem to fit, and you could tell at the very end when the officer is talking to the detectives, the story is ridiculous.
Seema, none of this strikes me as, as legit. It just doesn't strike me as legit. The way you don't have a story, it doesn't make common sense to me, Seema. And I know this is an extraordinary circumstance, but it doesn't make common sense.
None of this makes any sense. I'm stunned. Great job by Ted and his team getting this body cam. It is, of course, very jarring, I think, for our audience to see a dead body, as it is for all of us. I'm a little confused, and I don't want to make accusations, so you guys jump in and tell me if I'm wrong, but I didn't see any emotion from Tylee. Did she know? I mean, she was told about this. Maybe we're not showing her face, we can't see the emotion. But all of this seems so strange. Alex seems completely off. Nothing he said makes any sense. And I'm in shock. I'm really in shock by everybody in this video.
Yeah, Julie, I'm listening to a story of a man gets hit in the head with a bat, but then can walk to his room, get his gun, and come out and shoot someone. That part of it doesn't make sense to me either. If someone's swinging a bat at your head?
Right. No, it all doesn't make sense. And another question, I'm curious if his injuries aligned with that story that he told police that he was hit in the back of the head with a baseball bat. If we were to believe Alex Cox's account, then a crime was committed. Then he's the victim of an aggravated assault. So right then and there, in this set of facts that he laid out, a crime was committed, and at that point, he had lots of options. He could have called 911 and got the police involved then. He could have stayed up in the room, just like the officer suggested to him, could have left the house, could have called a neighbor, could have called Cult Mom, for crying out loud, or even, not that I'm advocating this, but even if he wanted to just duke it out with this guy, they could have maybe said, oh, let's take this in the backyard if we're so frustrated with one another, put the bat down. No, instead, he gets a gun, confronts him with deadly force after he had an opportunity to retreat and after he had an opportunity to cool off. This story stinks, Vinny. It stinks to high heaven.
Ted, as you went through that video, I thought I saw maybe something on the back of his head. Did you see anything as you examined that video on the back of Alex Cox's head?
Yeah, there's a small cut, basically, and he keeps dabbing at it. He's making a big deal out of it, almost like trying to make it bigger as he's telling his story. But it by no way, it does not look like he was bashed on the head with a baseball bat. And by the way, Charles Vallow played baseball. He was a big guy. One of his relatives said if he'd have hit him on the head with a baseball bat, he'd have knocked his head off.
Oof.
Yeah. Let's listen to a little bit more of police speaking with police.
Husband, estranged, doesn't live here. Lives in Texas. She's visiting. It was a DV earlier this morning. Brother kind of broke him up, said it was getting a little bit physical. With the wife? Yeah, because wife and husband are kind of separated. Again, he lives out of state. I don't know why he's here to visit. I don't have those details. Ultimately, he came over. They got into a verbal argument. Wife, husband got into a verbal argument. Brother steps in and says, just get the out. He says they got into an argument. Husband hit him in the head with a bat. Brother says, that goes to his room, grabs his gun, his own gun, goes back out, doesn't stay in the room, doesn't lock the door, doesn't call us, but goes back out, confronts him, says, drop the bat. Guy doesn't drop the bat. He says he shoots him.
All right, Ted, who's living where at this point? Is Charles Vallow officially out of the house at that point?
Yes, it appears to be, and they claim he's living in Texas. It's unclear if he actually is living in Texas or was just on business in Texas, because he went back and forth a lot and he traveled a lot for business. Lori had just moved into this home condo with Tylee and JJ at the time. Her brother lived across town, he had spent the night before. And that is something that the officer was asking, why were you here last night? And he said, well, I was just, spending the night at my sister's place. But that also seemed to raise a flag with the officer.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's listen to a little bit of JJ's grandparents, their reaction to this story of self-defense.
I want to go back to after Charles was shot and killed by Lori's brother. Did you believe that story?
Not at all. That was the most story that I have ever heard in my life. Any person that knew Charles absolutely knew that was a setup. That was a absolute setup murder for hire, I say, because I still say that Alex done it, and I still say that Lori was going to compensate him out of the insurance proceeds. And there's no way. That was an absolute murder.
That was as black and white as can be. Charles told me that Lori was having these visions and she was a god and she was, she was a translated being and he wasn't himself anymore and that she was going to destroy him financially and she was going to murder him and the angels would be there to dispose of the body and all this. So I knew all this. And so I knew he wasn't lying about it. Charles was a man of his word. Absolutely. He had integrity. And so if he told you something, you could believe it.
As I think about this, Julie, to me, one place where you might be able to get some evidence is how was Charles Vallow, if he's not living there, how was he lured to that house? How is it that he ends up there? And maybe that's where you can find one of these digital footprints of text messages or emails or some sort of communication that gets him under some set of pretenses that conflicts with the story that's being told to police, perhaps.
Oh, you're so smart, Vinny. Absolutely. Did you notice in that body cam video, I'm sure you did, how Alex Cox told the responding uniform officer that he believed that was Charles Vallow's rental car. Okay, so why did he take a rental car to get there? We heard Cult Mom talking about how they've only been there for 3 weeks. And then why is it that Alex Cox comes down to stay the night and there's no furniture in that living room? So why is the bat just lying around? He says, I picked up the bat in the living room, so that's all that's there. You're right. I think it needs to go back to how was he invited there, under what circumstances? Was it really that he was going to take the little boy to school as was planned? And then why did Cult Mom leave with the kids? The parents said set up, and we'll see what police say as they keep digging in. But this it doesn't smell right. That does not seem like a justifiable homicide at all to me, Vinny.
All right, folks, and stay with us a little bit later in the program. We're going to show you much more of that video that Ted uncovered for us today.